Yep, this is a different one. I'm just trying to, I don't know, I want my videos to kind of be a bit more natural. When I make videos, I always feel like I'm talking to a camera instead of like a person. And I mean, what's up, guys? I think it would be better to just talk to like people as I guess the void as a person. You know what I mean? Like, just not so YouTube style. It feels kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. This one I wanted to talk about. Okay. Should I cut it out? No, I'm gonna leave it in. I'm gonna leave it even this part in because maybe it helps someone. They see that I'm going through the same issues as you trying to make these freaking videos. I just wanted to talk about some of the history and like some of the times I went through just getting some of these boxes. And some of the flipping I've done and like some of the moves. I mean, the crazy thing about going through business and Magic the Gathering is like you almost each item that you have has like a story to it. It's like, how did you get the item, or like, it's not always the same way. Especially me as I'm starting up and new. Like I'm getting some things from different avenues, or like for Final Fantasy. Oh my God, that was a trip. I'll just tell the story real quick. Yeah, so when Final Fantasy dropped, I had some stuff a little bit ordered, but I didn't have any collector boxes except for like one or two on order, and I wanted as much as possible. So I was like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? So I remember launch day hit, and I was in my bed, and I had work the next day. I think it was gonna be like a Friday or something. I don't exactly remember. And I was in my bed, and 12 o'clock, I was up. I was like, oh my God, 12 o'clock is going to hit. Everything's going to go live. Official day is happening. So I was up till 12. And I remembered that, what is that electronic store? Micro Center? I remember they have a lot of pre-ordered Magic the Gathering stuff every so often for like some of the lesser sets. And I was like, oh, let's check them out. Maybe they're going to have some stuff. So 12 hit, I go to Micro Center, boom, they have collector boxes in stock. It's like 15 or something like that. Or I think it said like 25 plus. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, this is the moment. So I was up. I was like, oh man, I was planning. I was like, okay, when does Micro Center open? Oh, they open at this time. Okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get there? I was like looking around online. I was like moving stuff. I was putting stuff up, putting listings, checking stuff. I remember like Target and Best Buy dropped, and I missed both of those, to be honest. I wish I had those drops because each collector box, that would have been a nice little thing. Bank everything on Micro Center. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a whole day off. I'm going to play the life of a Pokemon scalper. To that day, I'd never done what I was going to do, which was I had a plan. I was going to go to Micro Center. It was like an hour away to the nearest Micro Center that I'm talking about that was going to have everything stocked. So I was going to go there, and on the way over, I was going to hit every Target opening on the way over. I was just going to hit Targets and check for Pokemon. So, hitting some Targets. Some Targets didn't even sell Pokemon, going from Target to Target. Every time I went to a Target, I was just, waiting there for them to open for some of them, because I think some opened at 7 and some opened, I think, at 6 and 8 or something like that. I don't really remember. It was a couple months ago. Like I said, only one day I ever did this. And so while I'm waiting, some people would pull up and I would just start a conversation. Like I'd be like, Pokemon? And some people were like, yeah, I'm here for Pokemon. And so I would just, I was just talking to people. It was surreal. It felt like, it felt kind of like, I don't know if you ever went to Pokemon Go, like when that was a thing. I don't know if you guys were going out there or if anyone watching was like that. But it felt like that, where there was almost like this secret little network of people all going and waiting in the morning for Pokemon, just just passively. And so it wasn't that many people because it wasn't anything like special supposed to drop. It was just like trying to catch the offer restock in the morning. So, I'm just talking about it. I'm like, yeah, my main thing's Final Fantasy. I'm hoping they have it. I was checking for Final Fantasy at each Target. They didn't really have it until later anyways. But, I tried my luck. Main thing was, and then one of the Targets I hit it was like, I went to the shelf, looked around, didn't see any Final Fantasy. Some guy pulls up to me, around my same age, and he goes, dude, Pokemon. And I was like, huh? Like, I didn't even acknowledge him before that. And then he's like, dude, Pokemon. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. It was tons of Prismatic, tons of Destined Rivals. There was like 3 tins, 3 packs. It was like everything. And Target had like a 2 per limit thing. So me and him grabbing all the Pokemon. We got 2 in our hands of each type, 2 Prismatic, 2 Destined Rivals. We're like, we hit the restock. So I don't know if he was going to, his plan was to resell it or what was happening. But it seemed like both of us really weren't used to doing it because it was just like, we were both just filled with joy. So, we had like 2 of each product. We go out into the parking lot. I'm like, yo, you trying to open a little bit of Pokemon? We can open these tins. It was the 151 tins. And he's like, fuck it, right now. Why not? So he had 2 tins. I think I had 1. I don't remember if I had 2. I know I had 1. So he opens his tin. I think he pulled like a Charizard, one of the hollow Charizards, the ones with like the stars on it. So that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, not crazy, but not a bad pack. I opened mine. I pulled the what do they call it? Illustration Zapdos. I was like, oh my God, huge hit. So this was nice because it was like, not only did I get a ton of Pokemon at MSRP, got the Zapdos. Of course, I mean, look, I'm a reseller and I was living the Pokemon Scalper life. So I listed it, in the parking lot, right there at Target, was listing up the Prismatic, listing the 151, fast forward, we were about to leave, and I was like, they had more Pokemon in there. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, we could go back in. And he's like, nah, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, I gotta try. So, like I said, this is the first time I did it. So, and it was, oh my God, the way I did it was not even professional at all. So, the first time I went in, I had this bright green jacket. When I went back in, I didn't even take it off. I just went back in. Didn't change my outfit, didn't try to put a disguise on, just walked back in there. Walked back in, grabbed more, went to a different cash register. I did do that. Went to a different cash register person. And so I'm, she's checking out, and then she looks up like this to like her fellow colleague, and I was like, oh God. And she goes, oh, you already got some? I was like, oh man. She was like, she's like, why do you have to do that? I was like, oh my God, I had to try. I was like, I had to try. The impulse was there. I just had to take a shot. Didn't work out. Scumbag, whatever you want to say. I was having some fun. It was a fun day. I'm in high spirits. I had a good time. Walked away. Didn't give him any trouble. I just said, you got me. you caught me. So then I went to another store. I don't remember if I hit another. I think I did hit another restock somewhere. I can't remember. I think I got some Prismatic. If I didn't, I really can't remember right now. I went to a couple Targets. And then I was like, okay, it's time to go to Micro Center. I've wasted enough time. The main goal was Final Fantasy anyways. So I book it to the Micro Center. Get there. Someone else was like swerving in real quick. I was rushing once I got there. I was like, ooh, skirted into a parking spot. Someone else did the same. He went in front of me a little faster. We got out. Of course, we're both in line for Final Fantasy. And there's a little sideline of they're like, anyone for Final Fantasy, get in this line. And there was a line. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like Pokemon. We're not going to get any collector boxes. So, I start talking to people in line. There's one dude who's kind of just mostly a Final Fantasy fan, where everyone, of course, dabbles in Magic, but, well, not everyone. Some of those people were really only there because of Final Fantasy and Reddit, and they heard that it was going to be big, or they heard it was going to be money, and so they're just there in line just to see what happens. And so I'm kind of educating my little squad that we were just having a conversation, and I was educating them on kind of how the market works. I was like, look, if you get these Omega packs and you wait a couple months, honestly, they'll pay for themselves. And let's say you get 3 Omega packs and you open one. In a couple months, you can sell 1 Omega pack and profit enough to pay off all the Omega packs you bought, all 3. And they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I'm just talking about it, talking about the pulls, talking about how it is. I'm like, yeah, the foils from this. And at Micro Center, they were selling everything. It was like the Commander bundles, the Omega packs. I don't think they had the individual collector boosters. I think it was just the Omegas. The boxes sold out immediately. There was like a little scuffle where someone tried to like cut in line, but they got it sorted out. And like the first like 6 or whatever people got all the boxes. So, it is what it is. Now for the Omega packs, Micro Center was huge. So what they let us do, actually, we would wait through line. It would be like 3 per customer. But what they said was, and they would like print out the sheet of like your order and they'd put it up at the front. Because apparently they had kind of gotten used to they kind of had like a system going because of the graphics cards. Because, we're talking to the employees and stuff. The graphics cards were kind of the same thing as almost like this Final Fantasy drop where it's just massive line. Everyone's there for the same thing. There's only so much, and it's all going to sell out that day. Because if you buy the Final Fantasy pack or the graphics card, you could technically immediately sell it and make tens or hundreds of dollars. Just right there. So, we're waiting in line, and what they let us do, they would print out your order, and then they said you could get back in line and do the same thing. So we're like, we're going to do it. I think one of the people in my squadron asked about it and got that answer, which was honestly, that's the nice part about making friends at little spots like that, like kind of like grouping up, is like, same multiple minds. Like I'm sharing the information about the market. They're sharing they're kind of getting ideas of like, hey, how can we do this? Or like, hey, should we just get in line? We're just talking, keeping each other entertained, going through it together. It was honestly a really fun experience. Just talking to everyone about it, seeing who was there for what. Some people were there only for Final Fantasy. Some people were there for Magic. So I was like, okay, that experience gave me a lot of insight on. I knew Final Fantasy collectors were going to go parabolic. They were already going parabolic, but I knew. So, and I'll fast forward to kind of like a little more about the Final Fantasy story. I'll say a little more about that knowledge after I knew it was going to parabolic and what I did with that knowledge. But to finish up the Micro Center, so I think I ended up getting like 9 or 12 Omega packs. It was something like that. And in the parking lot, we had made, like me and some of the people, like one of the guys there, we kind of made an agreement. Like, hey, once we get out, let's open some of our packs together. Let's open like 3. Not all of them, because we got to see. We got to flip a little bit. And to anyone who doesn't realize, almost everyone is willing to flip. Okay, you might not feel some way about flippers, but if you think about it, I mean, if I'm a hardworking individual and I can buy a product and sell it immediately for double and make like 40, 50 bucks, I'm gonna do it because I need as many little steps in life as possible. You might not agree with that. You might not like it, especially because it's quote unquote ruining your hobby. I understand all those feelings, but we're going to live our lives and do what the hell we want. And unfortunately for you, this is what we want to do. Anyways, so I get like 9 or 12. We open up the packs. I pulled a Primeval Titan. Kind of cool. Kind of freaking cool. The foil one, the Through the Ages. I think that was my big hit. Fast forward. That was a good time at Micro Center. Met some people, talked to some people, had a good time, had some insight. Realized how insane the hype was. I've never seen a line like that for Magic the Gathering products like that at a store. That was insane. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to get some boxes, I need to do it quick. So me opening up Facebook Marketplace, messaging people, hey, can I get your boxes? How much? $700, $650, $700. I'm like, okay, deal. One dude, he was like, it was an obvious botter, and he said like 14 available Final Fantasy collector boxes, $700 each. And I was like, I'll get 6 right now. Let's go. I'm gonna get 6. And he's like, I only have 1 right now. And I'm like, shoot. Okay, I'll meet you. And then he's like, meet me. And he was like 2 hours away. And I was like, I'm gonna drive out there. And he's like, well, you got to get there before this time because, I have a date or something. I think he had a date. And I was like, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going. So I'm just driving. I'm sprinting down the freeway. He's like, hey, how far are you? And I'm like, this far away. And he's like, oh, shoot, man, you're kind of far. I got something planned. And I was like, no. We're meeting right now. He's like, you could just meet me tomorrow. I was like, no, right now we're meeting. I'm gonna get that box. He's like, okay, whatever, man. Make it over to him. You know, it was kind of pressing time. I had to call him and kind of like calm him down. Like, hey, I'm right there. You know. So I don't know if it like scuffed him or what, but he did wait for me. That was awesome. Got my box. I was like, I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow rolls around and Final Fantasy box are freaking ballooning. They hit like $800 a box, $850 or something. Contact him again. He goes, I'm gonna have to raise the price, bro. And I was like, no. I was like, okay. And I don't remember what happened. I don't remember if I was going back to him or whatever. I wish I just bought the boxes either way, but I went to some other people, was picking up boxes. I think I did go back to him and picked up some more boxes. And so price keeps going up. He's like, yeah, dude, I sold way too low for you the first time, 700. Like, I got, like, that was a deal for you. And I was like, yeah, it was kind of a deal. It's kind of a deal. But you know what? That was my W. You know, if the price reversed, he wouldn't have wanted a refund. So that was a good little dub for me. Anyways, that's kind of enough of the Final Fantasy story of how I got the boxes. I mean, I have those memories behind those boxes. There's other little things like me going to a little comic store and trying to buy as many of their boxes as possible. Went to their sister store, got more boxes, opened some packs at the store. Watched my friends open some packs, which, you know, they don't really go as hard as Magic the Gathering as me, but one of them pulled a Y'shtola. After, like, the first pack I think they opened, it was like Y'shtola. I was like, oh my god, I was here. Fast forward, you know, that, it was just, Final Fantasy was such a good time. It was an awesome time. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you like this story. Hopefully, I don't know, like I said, my goal was to kind of make it feel a little more organic and kind of forget the fact that it's a camera that I'm talking to and just kind of like ramble as if I'm talking to a friend. So maybe it worked out. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you had any stories with any products, even if it was Final Fantasy. You know, I'm sure you have, like, if you're someone who has a collection or even a sealed collection, I'm sure some of those cards and items have some special meaning to you. And, you know, some special stories behind them. Let me know what you think. See you later.